It's a war that has lasted more than most armed conflicts, 50 years. America's war on poverty. President Lyndon Johnson launched it in January of 1964. The nation was still reeling from the assassination of John F. Kennedy, but President Johnson turned the focus on the future with a direct appeal to Congress to help impoverished Americans.
Who can tell what deep and unspoken hopes are in their hearts tonight as they sit there and listen? We all can guess from our own lives how difficult they often find their own pursuit of happiness. How many problems each little family has. They look most of all to themselves for their future. But I think that they also look to each of us.
President Johnson envisioned what he called a great society where people were free from hunger, where jobs paying a decent wage were plentiful, and where good health care and education were afforded to all. Sounds familiar. He got a lot done, but in the decades since, that vision has been clouded by economic downturns and ideological differences. 5 decades after the war on poverty was declared, some 50 million Americans live below the poverty line. So, President Obama is raising the banner anew.
And at the end of the month, in my State of the Union address, I'll mobilize the country around the national mission of making sure our economy offers everyone who works hard a fair shot at opportunity and success.
Well, he has his work cut out for him. The current climate in Washington is filled with partisan rhetoric, as many of you know, and threats of making cuts in vital social programs. And there's a battle of overextending long-term unemployment benefits and raising the minimum wage. Question, can President Obama possibly help to inspire the nation and Congress to take meaningful action on income inequality? Well, attorney Monique Pressley is host of Breathe Through It on WPGR. She joins us to take a look back and a look forward. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Julian.
I want to talk numbers here, which I always like to do. Let's just look at one particular city, our most perhaps important and largest city in this country, New York City. Right now, you have 50,000 people that are living in shelters, and you have the greatest number of homeless people since the Depression. These are daunting numbers in just one city. With the climate that's going on in Washington, how can the president change things for the better for more people?
Well, I can't do anything but agree with you. Those numbers are daunting. And for Americans who care about all Americans, who aren't just concerned about those who are doing well, but are concerned about the least of these, they're not just daunting numbers, they're haunting numbers. So we have to kind of first look at, I think, where we've come from. It's been 50 years since President Johnson's State of the Union address, where he declared an unconditional war on poverty, and much has been accomplished. It's important that we recognize that from that war, from that declaration of war 50 years ago, we got Head Start, we got Medicare, we got Medicaid, that he recognized that economic empowerment had to be partnered with social empowerment, with political empowerment. So we saw the Civil Rights Act, we saw the Voting Rights Act, and we have made progress. Have we made enough progress? Certainly not. The jury is out on what the statistics mean. The polling is wretched at this point, because politicians who attach themselves to these issues find themselves in trouble at the polls.
But Monique, I'm sorry to cut you off. Herein lies the problem. What we have here are lawmakers here that are split down lines. Some say they're moral lines, some say they're political lines here, but they can't seem to come to a consensus to agree on anything. And while the economy seems to be getting better at this time, the bottom line is here, we have a lot of people that are out of work, we have a lot of people that can't find jobs, we have a situation with extended unemployment. What Lyndon Johnson said in that soundbite there is like echoing. It's like a ghost coming back here, what Obama was saying about, equal opportunity and health care for all. But what's the problem? We got folks that are not coming to any kind of consensus on anything. How do we get beyond this?
Well, I think we are getting beyond it, and I think that that's why we have to kind of step back from it and have a larger perspective. While the infighting is nothing that we can debate, everybody knows that it exists, it's not because one side is right and the other side is wrong. It's because both sides have some right. Obviously, a few days ago, Senator Marco Rubio of Florida came out with a speech and a proposed plan, and the Dems are saying, no, 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 he's just asking to put everything in the hands of the states again. And the Republicans, some of them even criticized him, saying, you know, it's not worth doing anything. We've already put $20 trillion into helping the nation's poor, and it hasn't worked. Well, first of all, that's not right. It has worked. It has helped. If you look at statistics that include the government initiatives as part of the income of the poor, then we're not nearly as bad off as we were 50 years ago. And I have to applaud anyone who's willing to attach themselves to the issue and actually try to come up with a plan to help. The president 2 days ago said this is going to be a year of action for us. This is going to be a year where we commit as a nation afresh to do something about it. Look, we've got 20% of our nation's children in poverty. Now, even though that's better than the 40% that we were at 50 years ago, Julian, obviously, if we're looking at 1 in 5 children and they're poor, we've got 1 in 5 children and they need a better place to live, then that says something about this nation.
Right.
So, you know, President Reagan said in '86, war on poverty. Yes, we had one and poverty won. I disagree. I think that we're still fighting that fight and that it's a fight worth fighting, and it's a fight we can win. We lost Madiba Nelson Mandela just a few weeks ago, but one of the things that he always said about poverty is that poverty, like apartheid and like slavery, is man-made, which means that it can be eradicated at the hands of man. And that's something that we have to commit to afresh this year.
Sure, commitment in a fight worth fighting indeed. Monique Pressley, thank you so much.
Thank you.